I have just finished my first ever gravel race, and this is everything that I wish I knew before I started. Oh. Okay, it is coming up to about 8 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm now on the start line of my first ever gravel race. I've got 130 kilometers ahead of me. We're right between the border of England and Scotland. So as you can imagine, it is quite cold, and that is the very first thing that I wish I had thought about, because it is very cold and I don't think I layered correctly. At the moment, I've got bib shorts on with some knee warmers. That was not right. I should be wearing bib tights. Fingerless gloves. Idiotic, they should be full fingers. I think after maybe the first hour or two, it's gonna warm up a little bit, but those first couple of hours are gonna be really, really tough. Now though, I think all I've gotta do is start eating, start drinking, and yeah, get gridded with all of the other hundreds of cyclists here. So, fun fact for all of you, this is the biggest man-made reservoir in Europe. And I have to say, on this crisp Saturday morning, it is looking absolutely beautiful. Now, good news, the group has broken up, so we've got a little bit more space. I'll tell you what, for that first kind of 15, 16K, everyone was very tightly packed. So, what I will say, if you are a very competent rider, be sure to get yourself further up in the start list or the grid, okay? Make sure you get there early. It will just mean that you can get a cleaner start away. Me and James the cameraman, we started a little bit further back, so we had to work our way through, which was a little bit dicey at times, but it's all opened up now, and we are absolutely flying along. Whoa! Here we are. Right, I don't know how far in we are. What are we? About 25K in at the moment. As predicted, the sun has now come up and I'm getting very, very warm. I'm gonna rescind my earlier comment. It's not so much about wearing long layers, it's more about wearing strippable layers. So I'm gonna whip off these knee warmers, then these can go right in the back pocket. Perfect. And I think for now, that's all I really need. I was just feeling my knees get really, really warm. But yeah, like I was saying, tyre chat is really important, and I think this is something that you really need to bear in mind for a multiple of reasons, because we have seen a lot of people on the side of the road pulling inner tubes out of their tyres. I think the key message here is run tubeless, run a decent set of tyres like the Gravel Kings, and make sure that you carry enough spares like tyre plugs, high volume pump. And what I did is I used the pressure calculator on SRAM's website to calculate what I should be running in both front and rear. I would highly recommend doing that because I've been finding that the pressures have been working out really well for me. So there is a lot to consider, but it's worth putting the time and the effort into making sure that your setup is correct. We've just got to the first food stop, and this is a key time to get some food in. Now, I'm very lucky with my bike because I have a very cool feature in that underneath this bottle cage, I have some lovely internal frame storage, which I have packed out with fruit pastels, nuts and chocolate bars, all sorts. However, if you are not lucky enough to have such a feature on your bike, then I would recommend getting yourself one of these pretty large saddlebags, because it's a roll top, again from Camelback, and in here you can stash even more food, because honestly, staying fueled up is the key to kind of doing well at one of these races. And I think a little solution like this works really, really nicely. But what I'm gonna do now is absolutely chuck down some water, go fill up, get more snacks, then we're gonna hit the gravel roads once again. Now, I think there's one more thing that I wish I was just a little bit more clocked onto before I started today, is just how people behave out on the road, because people do swerve around quite a lot. So making sure that if you are approaching a slower rider and you want to overtake them, just shout, coming on your left, coming on your right, or coming through the middle if you're going to go through two people. It's just a really nice courteous way of letting people know what's happening, because you don't know what someone else is focused on or what they're thinking about, or what, if maybe there's a pothole that they're going to be trying to avoid. So just having that communication out on the road is really important, because yeah, with a group as big as this, when you're in the hundreds of riders, the skill level is really going to change quite drastically between one individual to another. Basically electrolytes, perfect. It's all about making sure you don't get palate fatigue, so the old Jaffa cake, shortbread sandwich. Oh. We are about to hit a very steep descent, but there's a couple of things that have occurred to me that I thought I'd share, because I think I've unconsciously been benefiting from two tips. Now, the first thing being glasses. When you hit descents, there's a lot of stones that get thrown up. So even if it is or is not sunny, either wear shades or wear clear lenses, because it's amazing how many little stones that have been hitting these lenses and not going in my eyes. And that has been an absolute lifesaver, because I think had I been having those go to my face and in my eyes, they would have been tearing up, and I would have been having a really, really nasty time. Secondly, is line choice. Now, this one may seem really obvious, but a lot of the roads that you'll find in a gravel race are often roads that are used by cars as well. So obviously where the tyres go, that's going to be a lot smoother. However, choosing the right side is also quite important, because again, a lot of cyclists use these roads the rest of the year. So one of the sides is often a little bit better. So just keep scanning the road and just keep an eye on which side may be a little bit smoother and a little bit kinder to your bike. What I would say is, try and practice jumping between the two different sides. So just get a little bit of confidence going over that loose gravel that's in the middle, because that again is a skill that I've been developing as the day's been going on, to be honest. Now I'm finding it really easy just to carve out the right line and make my life a whole lot easier. Number 441. That is an absolute treat. Pop chips and penguins, top tier. We are getting towards the end of the race now, and it is starting to hurt a little bit. My legs are getting a little bit sore. But one of my final tips would be is to make sure you take full use of everything that the race has to offer. So at the Dirty Reiver, they actually have this feature where you can drop off bags at registration, and then they'll bring them to the last feed stop. So what I've done is I've packed a bag of pop chips and penguins, and I've been looking forward to these all day. And then James, who's behind the camera, we've got some hobnobs, Jaffa cakes, muffins, and more penguins. So to be honest, on that final climb, this is all I was really looking forward to, and I am so happy to stuff my face with this. I've seen people eating pork pies. Genius move. We have got about 20 to 30k left of the ride before we hit the finish line, but I thought before we did that, I'll just give you a quick run over on how this bike has actually been performing. I'll be honest, I think that these Future Shocks have made me look like a much better rider than I actually am. They've been taking up so much of the abuse and have just allowed me to keep on pedaling, which has made my life so much easier. And actually also the wheel setup has been spot on. These Gravel Kings have been absolutely flawless, to be honest. Occasionally we have been hitting a little bit of mud and then they've been getting covered in mud, but then they like self-clean themselves pretty well. The 40C width as well, I've not had an issue with. I have seen people running
fairly aggressive setups, and this one is probably one of the softer setups, but for me it's been absolutely ideal, and I've not really felt like I've been missing out on power or speed, which has been ideal. Now, I'll be honest, this is a bit of a premium bike. It is not cheap, but that is also why I think the Podium bottles work so well with it. I think if you're going to spend a lot of money on a bike, it does make sense to have a premium bottle to go with it, and that's why I think the Podiums work really well. It's something that you can have for the rest of your life thanks to that lifetime warranty, and they're just a very versatile bottle, and they've worked really well today. Fun fact actually, the Podium bottles have been in production for about 25 years now, and this again is just another generation of that hero product. So not only, of course, will you have them for the rest of your life, but they're only ever getting more sustainable, and I think having this metal option also works really well, because then, like I say, it's just going to be with you forever. Anyway, chat over, it's time to get back on the bike and finish the Dirty Reiver. Oh man, that was hard. Oh, amazing. Thank you very much. Oh, yes. Oh, I need a beer. Well, there we have it. I have just finished my first ever gravel race, the Dirty Reiver, 130 kilometers. Fair to say it lived up to its name. All that's left to do is get a beer, probably clean my bike, and yeah, obviously big thanks to Camelback, the sponsor of this video. I think I need to go get a shower and have a very, very long sleep. One last final tip that has just come to mind, and that is do not forget chamois cream, because I tell you what, after that many hours in the saddle, you're gonna need it.